You think hurting his ego will make him lose interest forever. But sometimes it's the exact moment he starts wanting you more. Because when you understand what really happens inside his mind after that moment, you stop chasing and he starts coming toward you. Most people handle this situation completely wrong. They panic, explain too much, and try to fix everything instantly. But have you ever noticed something strange? The more you try to repair things quickly, the more distant he seems. And the moment you step back and stay calm, his attention slowly comes back. That's not a coincidence. That's psychology at work. Have you ever noticed that the more you try to chase a man, the less he seems to value you? There is a kind of hidden understanding, something passed quietly through generations, living deep inside the male mind, and only a small number of women truly sense it. This quiet truth carries the power to spark deep attraction in a man, even one who once showed no interest at all. What I'm going to share can completely shift how you approach relationships with men. This is not about surface level tricks or manipulation. It goes much deeper, touching something essential inside masculinity, especially at its most sensitive and unguarded point. Carl Jung, a well-known psychotherapist, explained in his work on the collective unconscious that every man carries a very old emotional wound inside him. When this inner wound is gently touched in the right way, it can awaken a strong need in him to prove his value. That is exactly what we are exploring here. Think about creating a level of attraction so powerful that the man you desire cannot picture his life without you. Imagine him thinking about you again and again, reaching out, wanting your attention, your presence, your time. This is not just a simple method, but a deeper understanding of what truly drives a man beyond logic and surface thinking. It is about reaching the deeper layers of the male ego, not to damage it, but to awaken something stronger within him. The protector, the fighter, the loyal partner who feels the need to show his worth to the woman he cares about. Many women spend years trying to win or bring back a man using methods that do not work. They give all their love, all their energy, and in return, they receive very little. The reason is simple. They do not fully understand how the male mind actually works. Modern neuroscience has confirmed what Jung suggested long ago. The male brain places higher value on what it must work to achieve, on what feels like a challenge to his identity. When you truly understand this idea, you gain the ability to change how men respond to you in a powerful way. What you are learning now is something that the most captivating women throughout history seemed to understand naturally. Women who left lasting impressions, who created deep attraction, were often guided by this inner awareness of how the male ego works. So take a moment and prepare yourself, because after understanding this, your view of relationships may never be the same again. The way you interact with men will shift, and the man you keep thinking about may begin to respond very differently once you apply what you are learning. Before going further, there is something simple but meaningful you can do. Write the word awaken in the comments. This is more than just typing a word. It is a small declaration that you are ready to understand something deeper about the male mind. By doing this, you are opening yourself to a new level of awareness. Keep your focus as you continue, because what comes next builds the foundation for transforming your love life. This understanding began many years ago when Jung started exploring the deeper layers of the human mind after separating from Freud and forming his own ideas. Jung discovered that beyond the conscious mind, there is a much more complex system shaping our deepest desires. To truly understand how to influence a man's feelings, you need to understand what Jung called the shadow. This is the hidden part of a man, the part he may not even fully accept himself. It carries his fears, like the fear of not being enough, not being respected, or not being valued. You may have noticed how some men appear very confident on the outside, yet inside, they carry quiet insecurities. This contrast is a natural part of the male psyche, and within it lies a powerful key. There was a woman named Mariana who experienced this directly. She cared deeply for a man who seemed to ignore her completely. She was always there for him, always supportive, always giving her time and attention. Yet the more she gave, the less he seemed interested. It felt unfair and confusing. When she finally sought guidance, she learned something important. The male brain responds strongly to challenge. When something feels too easy or always available, it loses value in his mind. This is not about playing games. It is about understanding a natural pattern in how men experience attraction and motivation. What Mariana learned first was the idea of the anima, the feminine image inside every man that shapes how he connects with women. When a man begins to project this image onto a woman, he starts to see her as deeply special in his mind. This is where strong emotional attachment can begin. But this does not happen through constant availability. It happens when his sense of worth is gently stirred, when he feels a need to rise, to prove himself, to become more. This is not about hurting his ego. It is about awakening something within it that leads to growth and deeper connection. When a man feels this kind of gentle challenge from a woman he respects, something shifts inside him. He becomes more focused, more engaged, more emotionally invested. It is almost like entering a state where winning her attention and admiration becomes very important to him. This is where attraction deepens into something stronger. There are 3 key ideas that help activate this state. These ideas helped Mariana change her situation, and they have helped many others experience similar results by simply understanding and applying them with awareness and care. The first idea is what can be called the soul mirror. A man naturally wants to see his best self reflected back at him through the woman he cares about. When you show him that you recognize his potential, but also that he has not fully reached it yet, it creates a quiet tension inside him. He begins to feel the need to grow into that better version of himself. This is not about direct criticism. It is much softer. It is about showing belief in him while also seeing that he can go further. This small difference has a very strong effect on how he feels and responds. The second idea is the balance of presence. The male mind reacts more strongly to what is not always certain. When something is always there, always available, it becomes predictable and the excitement fades. But when there is a natural rhythm, moments of presence and moments of space, it creates anticipation. This does not mean acting in a fake way. It means living your own life fully, having your own focus, your own direction. When you do this, he begins to feel that being part of your world is something he must earn, something valuable and not easily given. The third idea involves gently touching the hidden fears a man carries. Every man has fears about not being enough or not being respected. When you show that you understand these fears without judging them, it creates a deep emotional connection. It shows that you see both his strengths and his struggles. This kind of understanding can lead him to feel safe, yet also motivated to grow. It is not about using his fears against him. It is about giving him the space to rise above them, which naturally brings him closer to you in a meaningful way. When Mariana began to apply these ideas, the change in her situation was clear. The man who once ignored her started to reach out more often. He responded quickly, showed interest, and made efforts to spend time with her. Over time, his feelings grew stronger, not because of pressure or tricks, but because something inside him had been activated. He felt a natural desire to show his worth and to build a deeper connection. This kind of change does not come from force. It comes from understanding how the mind and emotions work together. Now, to apply this in real life, you need to focus on how you communicate. Instead of only asking about what he has done, ask about what he dreams of doing. Questions that connect him to his future self are much more powerful. When he shares, listen carefully and respond in a way that reflects his potential. Show that you see something in him that is still growing. This creates a feeling inside him that he wants to live up to that vision. It becomes a personal challenge, one that connects him more deeply to you. When a man feels this kind of positive challenge from a woman he values, his brain responds strongly. It releases chemicals linked to pleasure, bonding, and attachment. This is not just emotional, it is also biological. The experience of attraction becomes stronger because it is connected to growth, effort, and reward. Understanding this allows you to approach relationships in a more balanced and effective way. Instead of giving everything at once, you create space for connection to grow naturally, step by step, in a way that feels meaningful for both sides. When you offer a challenge that is gently wrapped in real admiration, you create a powerful reaction inside his mind. Now, to truly apply the idea of presence, you need to understand that this is not about playing games or trying to control someone. It is about respecting your own life and your own sense of mystery. Jung spoke about something he called individuation, which is the process of becoming your true self. In real life, this means that when a man enters your world, he should not find emptiness waiting for him to fill. Instead, he should see a life that is already full, meaningful, and alive. A life where he feels the desire to earn a place. Stop replying to messages instantly, not as a trick, but because you are honestly engaged in your own life. Build interests and passions that are not fully open to him. Keep parts of your world just for yourself. This could be a personal routine, a creative interest, or deep friendships that matter to you. When he asks about these things, speak with energy and warmth, but do not try to pull him into everything or explain every detail. Let some things remain unknown to him. Research shows that the male mind is strongly drawn to mystery. Things that are not fully explained tend to stay in his thoughts longer and can slowly create a deeper curiosity. One of my clients, Louisa, who worked as a therapist, used to share every detail of her day with the man she liked. She would talk about every session, every thought, every realization. I suggested she try something different. The next time he asked about her day, she smiled and simply said it was meaningful and that she had some deep realizations, and maybe she would share them another time. This small shift created a noticeable change. He became more curious, asked more questions, and showed more interest. She was not pretending, she was simply allowing some parts of her life to stay private and meaningful. This naturally leads to the third and most powerful idea, which is facing the shadow. This is the deepest level of influencing the male ego in a way that creates strong emotional connection. Jung believed that every person has a shadow, which includes the parts we hide or do not fully accept. For many men, this includes feelings of weakness, fear of not being enough, and worry about not being respected. One of the strongest ways to connect at this level is through something that can be called shared vulnerability. This happens when you show your own human side first, creating a space where he feels safe to do the same. For example, you might calmly share something you struggle with, without making it dramatic or asking for reassurance. You could say that sometimes you feel unsure, or that you are learning to accept parts of yourself. By doing this, you are quietly showing that it is okay to be human, that perfection is not required. When he later opens up about his own fears or difficulties, you have a chance to respond in a deeper way. Instead of quickly telling him everything will be fine, you can acknowledge what he is feeling and also recognize his strength in facing it. When you respond like this, you are not feeding his ego with empty comfort. You are respecting his experience and showing that you see both his struggle and his strength. This creates a different kind of connection, one that is based on truth and understanding. Studies show that when people feel truly seen in their vulnerable moments, the brain releases bonding chemicals that create a strong emotional link. For a man, being understood at this level by a woman he values can form a connection that goes far beyond surface attraction. Think about how often you may have held back your thoughts or lowered your presence so that someone else would feel comfortable. In doing so, you may have believed you were protecting the connection, but often it has the opposite effect. Real attraction grows when both people are fully themselves. When you allow your full presence to be seen, including your strength, your opinions, and your uniqueness, it creates a stronger and more honest connection. One of my clients, Katerina, once used to hide her success because she feared it might scare men away. But when she finally accepted herself fully and stopped apologizing for who she was, everything began to change. Not only did men start responding to her differently, but she also felt more complete within herself. She realized she did not have to choose between being strong and being loved. Both could exist together. This is the key idea. It is not about changing yourself to attract someone, but about letting your real self be seen. When you reach this stage, attraction becomes natural, not something forced or planned, but something that grows from authenticity, confidence, and self-respect. To apply this in real life, start with your relationship with yourself by understanding your strengths, your fears, and your deeper potential. Notice your patterns in relationships, especially where you might overgive or hide your true thoughts. Make small, honest changes. Speak your truth, set boundaries, and allow your actions to reflect who you really are. Build a connection slowly, keeping balance by sharing, but also keeping parts of your life personal. As trust grows, allow deeper conversations and real understanding to develop. Remember, true connection is not about control or dependency, but about two complete people growing together. When you live this way, you free yourself from hiding and create relationships based on truth, respect, and real emotional depth. In the end, this is not about trying to control someone or forcing love to happen, but about understanding both yourself and the deeper nature of connection. When you stop chasing, stop hiding, and start living fully in your own truth, something shifts naturally. You begin to attract not through effort, but through presence, self-respect, and quiet confidence. The right kind of connection grows when there is balance, when there is both closeness and space, strength and softness, honesty and depth. Real love does not come from losing yourself to be accepted, but from fully being who you are and allowing someone to meet you there. When you apply these ideas with awareness and care, you are not just changing how someone sees you, you are changing the entire dynamic of how love enters your life. You create a connection that is not based on need, but on mutual growth, understanding, and respect. And in that space, love becomes something deeper, stronger, and far more meaningful.